Hello, 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 everyone. Mike Arnold here again. Still here, along with Bob Iacino, who's not here today, but should be here tomorrow afternoon. How is everyone doing? Hello, Wavy. Vicious Ride open only to close the day flat. Oh, yeah, close the day a lot better than where it opened the day, and close the day slightly down. Some markets slightly up in the Nasdaq compared to Friday's close, which for the window dressing it was a struggle to get it back there, but they fought hard. The Bulls fought hard today. Hey, Tim and Terry, how are you doing? Hello, Tesla Force. The intro is like the end of a movie. Should that be the outro? Should it be the outro instead? Should I wrap up the sessions with that? I mean, again, big shout out to Ken for putting that together. I had to deal with some copyright issues, but even though we've licensed the music, had to deal with some copyright stuff with it. But oh well, that's part of the life of a YouTuber. Just joking. I never considered myself that. Uh, Again, how is everyone doing? By the way, if you're new here, please do consider subscribing, ringing that bell, and hitting the like button. Longer term viewers, please do continue the likes like you've been doing and leaving some comments. Let's see. Oh, hello, Sashi, just popping in now. Hope everybody did well with the little rally back. So we looked earlier. You are a YouTuber. So I tell people, what do you do? I always tell people I'm a trader, but now should I just say I'm a YouTuber? Man, I'm all over to YouTube. So hope everybody spotted with the, especially once we got above that 62.5 today that I pointed out, to watch for that gap fill, which we got, the full gap fill, then coming back down. So I know I've already been asked, so I'll map it out. This on the 1 hour S&P. This is what you always have to check. Don't just assume. Now, the 1 hour doesn't quite make it, but if we do trigger below the 43.10, I'm just targeting these today's low candle area. I'll just leave that on because I might still use those for the shorter term. It really just takes us down between the candle bodies nearly and the lows, which would be my targets anyways. But that's how you always got to double check the little things on the 15 minutes. See, it just misses again. But they're roughly the same targets is why I'm willing to put them up there. Roughly the same targets that I would be using from a little break below this key low at 43.10. Okay, so this would be the target area. I'll just leave it up there. What is more important, let me update these other harmonics that I'm using. It got sidetracked again. What is more important is this. Checking on this bigger double, which clearly does work. So you have two little downs. This is what I really like is we have two little downside plays, potentials. Below this 43.10, I'm targeting, I'll use this as a stop reduction, this 42.78, right around this cluster with the harmonics right there. I'll use an area right in there for a stop reduction. Let me switch cameras here by glancing at my other screen. And then I will use a target area down here. I don't need to use these targets precisely, but it's all in a very key area. Now, what's interesting is if you get a close below this low, or even a momentum trade below that low, since those are the kind of markets we're in, normally I talk to newer people saying, wait for the closes. If you're in high momentum markets and you are with momentum breaks, you can easily jump on it early. The way we teach closes is it helps people to be patient and to not get in a lot of false moves. But as you get better at it, you can definitely take breaks. But that would be on, I'll just list the break, 42.51.50, and then you have 41.88.25, 41.52, 41.18. And I'd make this area between 41.24 and 41.18 my final target zone area. What's interesting, you also see here on the 4 hour, you have a clear path move. So there's not many stopping points. And even on the 1 hour, you just have this little hitch. But look, your stop reduction's right there. And then your next target's just below that and right in front of this key little breakout area which I'd be watching anyways. But you're into that clear path move on the 4 hour, so you could easily get some downside momentum. Now to the upside, 43.85.50 above there. Again, I'm watching the 62.5, not only because this is 62.5, but it's a little resistance area, and we'll be watching that especially on a closing basis. That's 44.05.50. Above there, 44.21, and then 44.56. You can see with the declining 200 on the 4 hour. But right in here, you see three things. You have the declining rotation zone, that 62.5, and the harmonic. So that's going to be a very key resistance area. I will be watching tomorrow to see if we do continue to rally and then roll over. I could be watching for a topping pattern there. And by the way, look at that next harmonic right at the 200. So if it does have a strong rally tomorrow, again, we were into this clear path move and virtually hit the breakdown target close enough for me today. So if the rally continues, then this would be my minor stopping level and what I'd watch for on the daily close. My major, if we really got momentum, would be around that 44.56. Let's see how else. Sashi, thanks. You love the new music. And hello, Christoph. How are you today? So that we have their upside and downside plays laid out. And I might, tomorrow morning might be a little iffy. I have to take my wife to the airport. So I will see. I might have to jump on a little earlier for a live stream if something big is going on. And just for everyone who watches daily or regularly attends live, the sessions might have to be a little shorter for the next week since she'll be out of town and I have to manage all 5 of the dogs, including eating and walking them and everything else. So the schedule might, I'll try to stick to the schedule, but I might have to cut things a little shorter, just letting you know. Hello, Options 22. Glad to have you. Jake, I just wanted to share this encouraging others. I trade exclusively double bottoms to tops for the entire month of February, following your rules verbatim, and had an 88% win rate. Well, that is fantastic news. Thank you for sharing that on the channel, by the way. That's really powerful. Thank you so much for all you do. Seriously, well, I appreciate everyone tuning in here. And remember, if you do want to help the channel grow, share this information with your friends and help everybody continue to become better traders and investors. But that's great. I mean, that's a fantastic win rate. So maybe when I release the doubles thing again, you could be another testimonial. I know Options 22 will be. Also, he's become a very strong doubles trader. Let's take a look at that Nasdaq. By the way, if anybody wants to support the channel, if I've helped you make some money, consider doing some donations with the Super Chats, the Patreon, or buy me a coffee. Those are always welcome if I have helped you. Nasdaq, you can see actually reversing the whole move with an outside bar. So let's take a look at that shorter little terms. Let's check out this potential double on the Nasdaq. And that does work. And I go from the conservative side with this, by the way. 13,873, 13,812. Then I'd make this final area a target area. I'm just going to bump this down a hair. So you see this target area between about 13,768 to 13,751. Let's also, you see, what I did was this little reverse harmonic intraday here to help me come up with intraday targets once we broke above the high. So I'm using this low right here. See this low? And I'm using it's reversed because it's back in time. And that gave me 14,260 as the next target area. And look at that next target area. Look at that next target area. So we also have a potential bigger double here. And again, I am going off the conservative targets right here. You could probably use the aggressive ones too. I'm just going conservative right now based off the markets because I'd rather move down stops quicker. 13,426, and then look right at the harmonic retracement level, and the next target about 13,302, 13,300. Again, then 13,169.75. So I'd make this another target zone at that bottom. So you have two doubles again. So those are both your trades to the downside potentially. And to the upside, I'm leaving these harmonics in place because my next target area is 14,321 to 14,342 on a continued rally. Above there, then we have the 62.5, 14,420, and then 14,489. Now keep in mind, once you get above this area, look at this. We posited that harmonic, and it was also this top area on that 4-hour, and it's almost. I'd have to do a little more looking, but look at this significance right here. So you see coming down there, holding, little back and forth there, but close right on it, then retesting it and then a move quickly away, coming back down, breaking through it, and retesting, and then a move quickly away. So you start getting above this level again and the harmonic. We're into a clear path move with virtually the 62.5% being the breakdown zone and the final target then being 14,600. So there's your targets, the upside and downside. You should be very well prepared in both the S&P and Nasdaq. Do not ignore, it's flattening out, but I would pay, it's close enough to that 62.5 that I would just pay a glance at the daily and keep an eye on this key level to the upside, which would be around 14,422 again, 14,400 to 14,422. The Dow inside day today, as opposed to the Nasdaq, which was an outside day. Inside day stalling still against that daily rotation zone. Let's take a look at that shorter term price action here. Again, we didn't quite fill the gap yet. It's closed above that 62.5, but couldn't quite fill that gap. But still, that's a potential. I'm just taking off the shorter term levels. Now let's take a look. This would not be a double because it's only reversing this move. So this is the move that started this pattern. It's only reversing it. However, on the longer time frame, let's see, the 4-hour, we'd still have this double. Still have this double here on the 4-hour. You have this little hitch in there, but your targets are 33,026, 32,878, 32,730, and that's on the break below 33,322. Now to the upside, you can see we've stalled out roughly at that 50% harmonic, but if we start getting above this 34,000 again, my next target is 34,267, which is the end of this little mini clear path move that hasn't finished yet. And then I'd be watching at 62.5 at 34,401. And then the next harmonic is 34,501. So we have some great targets to the upside and great targets to the downside. Do not ignore the 62.5 with the declining rotation zone. So if we continue to rally tomorrow, which is the first day of March, that's going to be one of my very key areas to watch for on the closing basis. Also, that's right near the breakdown zone from this daily clear path. So that's what we have there. Russell clearly filling that gap. Didn't have to look again. The major resistance area on a continued rally is about 2084.80, and on a pullback, I'm still watching the first key support about this 1986. If we drop below there, I'd be targeting this around 1940 to about 1927. Crude, I'll get to some questions again. I see some stuff in there. This is an interesting little pattern right here. This is very interesting because we have this hitch, but this and the move that started it would still be down here, even though you have this little move. So I'll be watching if we do break below this key low for a much bigger reversal. Then that's 90.06. You can see still some selling pressure in crude. Now, before that happens, remember, look at that 62.5 level. Now that was from the close. Remember, because I'm watching for the gap play. And I'm watching it in crude. Don't watch these things on 5-minute basis unless you have very strong momentum. I've been watching this on an hour basis for if we get that close below 94.63, I am targeting that gap fill then. Then if we fill the gap, okay, then I'm going to be watching this very key low. So that's where we sit on crude. I'll get, again, gold still having some trouble moving up, but you know, just staying in this super wide range bar from Thursday. If we do pull back, major support is about 1877. Nothing's really changed with that. Let's take a look at notes. Notes are interesting. Look at this. We had the double. Finally, we paused at this first target. You can see there. Hit, pause again, then came back and tested that first target as key support. So now we're watching the next two targets, about 127.23 and a half, then 128.01. We're starting to get that bigger rally, and this is now, at this point, it's not a weekly close because the week's just starting, but we're into the weekly rotation zone, so we could easily still move up higher, especially with a flight to safety if that continues. Let's take a look at that Treasuries. I know, I'm actually going to go to the yield curve one. And if you take a look at here on the 10-year, look at that. Let's get that daily. There we go. First target hit on the yields. 1824, just slightly going below it, but then I'm watching for 1785, and that's going to be very key. That next level is going to be very key. Why? Because you have, oh, look at that little base right there, just below it. So that's going to be key, and then if it gets below that, that's 1745, but I'm really focused on this next target for the yields. I know we had a crypto thing. Let me get over to that, but let's see. Bitcoin, massive rally, strong correlation with the Nasdaq still. Yeah, and it just hit. I had the clusters on here. We got above this high from back on the 26th, which was a 40,300. I put the harmonics on, which gave me 40, I'll just give you the major level, 41,764, and look at that pause right there with the significant level and pause right there, returning to that double top breakdown zone. And this is also why you take profits on doubles, because look, it came down, hit those profit areas, and now we're reversing back up. Now, I've said a long time, I'm still bearish long-term on crypto. What would change it in the short term? Double bottom pattern right here. So I would get really bullish about 45,855. 45,855, it's reversing this whole move, not this one. It's reversing this whole move. So we could then see prices back into the 50s, but that's not triggered yet. So you can't just go hog wild in crypto. You don't really want to front run this because we're still against the daily or the weekly rotation zone right there. So again, this could easily come up to this prior significant level at the top of the weekly rotation zone and rotate back over. So that's where it is. The only play right now is a short-term breakout play that's into this advanced clear path move, essentially hitting the first target. The next target is this 44,585. Ethereum, by the way, you can see it also. There's your double on Ethereum, and it's reversing this move. So there's upside plays in Ethereum as well. So we might be getting some short-term bullish plays in these cryptos. But again, there's not really a strong front-running case for it besides jumping on things. And then I'd still unwind some of these key positions at the key support and resistance. By the way, I'm watching again. This was the breakdown zone. And now that's the key high area. So if we start getting momentum above this high of 2880, then I'm using the 292, 5250, 3025, and then I'm targeting the end of the clear path at 3183 area. Oh, let's see. Hey, let's see back here. Hey, Jake, thank you for the super chat. Follow Mike regardless of what's going on in the market or world. Hit the like too. Thank you again. Super chat, super appreciated. Trying to keep as much great information out there for people. Also, do share this information with other people. I'd really like to bring more people into the fold and the great community we have here. Christoph, I made that apparently a lot of market participants considered it today to be a good day to buy. I don't listen to a lot of market participants, and everybody's still in this crazy buy the dip mode, which is fantastic, because you know what it gets me to? When we get to major topping signals and everybody goes hog wild, it's a great area to load up on short positions again. And I told you, you get these strong rallies. These are the markets you get the strong rallies in. And risk management by most people, including a lot of professionals, is absolutely horrible. I think I hopefully have taught you guys enough with using stops, using targets, where the trade could possibly be wrong, and coming up with your targets to take profits and reducing your risks so you can trail out of positions also, that you're managing your risk a lot better than most of these people who just think everything's going to the moon, everything's honky-dory, and then the markets turn on a dime and they get obliterated. So I hope that has gotten through to a lot of people. Well, thank you, Josh. Thank you again. I really do appreciate those nice comments. Let's check in on the dollar index. Still really caught between these two significant levels, but this is starting to backtrack more. If it does come down, my next area is about 96.35. Let's check our Apple, Microsoft, Tesla, Amazon, Google custom index. We do have a potential double on here, but it's a long way out from triggering. But that you can see the sort of the mega caps are moving back up. By the way, with that ratios, let's check in on the mega cap S&P ratio. Just sort of very flat today. Look at that, very flat. But longer term, just for if there's anybody new here, this is why longer term, this is confirmed. But again, on a weekly basis, not triggered, but we're watching for the eventual big mega cap breakdown. Value versus growth. Got to check in on this. Look, that's also very flat. So keep that in mind. This one was up slightly favoring growth, but there's still not much there to go. It's like the markets are pausing now. And even today, with this rally back, I'm still taking this as a pause day, because if we do a little candlestick math between Friday and today, you know, it didn't really go anywhere. And that's still, I mean, it didn't really do anything. So it's a wash. I mean, we rallied up Friday, but today was essentially a wash day for me. By the way, you know what I forgot to do? Forgot to look at a couple things here, and we'll economic calendar for tomorrow. We're going to be looking at, we have the manufacturing PMI final and ISM manufacturing, very high market importance. And the end of month is over, so we'll see what that does. So that's very important. Construction spending is a medium thing. Let's see. Then everything else is pretty much low for tomorrow. So keep that in mind. The FOMC is the 50 basis point hike, 8.5%, 91.5. Now this can still change drastically with inflation. Here's your heat map. So you had Tesla up pretty big today. I think they announced the opening dates of their factories. But you had some things like Microsoft, Apple, Google. Let me just make sure this was updated. Oh, no, see it bounced back. Sorry, I didn't update that. Pretty much a lot of stuff is flat besides Tesla and banks were off based off of stuff, stuff that's going on with the sanctions. Healthcare pulling back a bit. But your big boys were pretty flat except for Tesla. So I think that's about it. Hey, wrenching while watching. Let's see. It's true that this is more of a pausing day than anything, but given the macro situation, you have more than you need for a sell-off. If this had not been end of month, I think the sell-off would have been more severe. But it was still buy this dip hard. And you did not see fear. You're actually seeing a flight to safety, but you're not seeing any real fear in I think the stock markets is a little complacent in here. Okay, so we shall see what continues to happen And everybody's still in that buy the dip, no fear in the streets. By the way, where did the VIX end up? Where did the VIX end up? Coming back a bit, so we're way off the peaks. But see, even with this we did not get to sheer panic mode. It's still elevated, but it's not at panic mode. What else do we have? If there's any stocks, like Rich, are you going to be in the next one? Because I'd rather review that in the next session. Sorry, having trouble speaking. 30-15s at highs. So what else? I'm not seeing much else. We can do the stock review in about 30 minutes. I'm just making sure I didn't forget anything. Grains. Let's take a quick look at grains because I'm still very bullish on grains. Wheat, tried to dip, but wheat still rallying, and Russia is a major wheat exporter, so I'm still expecting highs. But look at that. Look at this harmonic level that's been in place. Besides that brief gap above there, close right at it, move back down the rotation zone, a run back up and close pretty much at that harmonic. Next major area I'm watching for wheat is this 996.60. By the way, this is also a really good area based off of this to do the minor harmonics. And so I'd use 989 to about 996, 996 being the major one. Corn, little rotation back up, but still inside day. And I'm expecting corn and soybeans since that's not as much of an impact with Russia. However, I'm expecting there could be a fair amount of volatility this spring season with planting, so we will keep an eye on that. Yeah, dog's okay. I took her to the vet this morning. She's okay. We had just had a minor issue with her, so she's back home and okay. I dealt with that. Let's see. Thank you for asking, Sterling. We estimate Ukraine agricultural crop being out at least 3 months, rather 6. Massive impact. By the way, most exports goes to China, and it will be interesting. I am keeping a very close eye, and as you know, even though it's a stock, I'm putting this up here now. I'm keeping an eye on DBA because on bigger pullbacks, this is a buy and did not trigger the buy signal today. Still watching again for a close above Friday's high at 2098. And then there's a really nice gap play in there and then a continued move higher. But longer term, if you do get the pullback anywhere into this rotation zone, is a longer term buy. Keep that in mind, and I would watch for a weekly buy signal then. With that, I think I'm going to wrap up this session and prepare for the stocks. I got to take the dogs for a walk. By the way, again, if you're new here, please do consider subscribing, ringing that bell, and hitting that like button. Again, longer term members, keep liking the videos and commenting. And with that, I will talk to everybody in about 30 minutes. Bye for now.